If you're a diehard Bachelor fan, you know LaNease Adams. She was among the final 8 women in the first ever season with Alex Michel in 2002 and landed the series' first kiss. But her journey wasn't all romance and roses. After the show aired, she faced racist backlash online for being in an interracial relationship, leading her to suffer depression and panic attacks before landing in the hospital. I talked to LaNease about her mental health journey after the show and how she got to the positive place she's in now. This is our conversation.
I bet you couldn't have imagined a year ago before this started that we'd all be stuck in our homes and they'd end up re-airing your season of The Bachelor from 2002.
No, not at all. But you know what? I'm actually really happy about that. Especially because of everything that I went through after the show. I wasn't really able to enjoy fully just all the good stuff that had come after it. I just so at least this time when they re-aired it, I had a fresh perspective, and I was also able to handle just everything a lot better. So for me, it was almost like a second chance at experiencing it a little bit, not as much. It obviously, they didn't show the whole season, and so it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too because of that you were able to share your story in women's health more in depth than you had been when the show originally aired. What was behind the decision for making you want to share that now?
Well, what was interesting was that Women's Health, they gave me a call because the show was going to be re-airing, and they just wanted to get contestants' experiences. And since I had the first kiss, they really wanted to know what my experience was like. And as I was giving the interview, um, I mentioned about, having the anxiety, going to the hospital, and that was news to everyone because I had never come out and told that story. Originally, only my immediate family knew. But as I was rehashing what the experience was like, I had to obviously tell that big part. And that's when it sort of exploded because they were like, wait, what happened? Are you kidding me? And I'm like, yeah, that happened. I like almost died and had to work myself back from that experience. And so it just became bigger than I expected it to be. And I didn't go into it planning to tell that story. It was just the story. And I guess people were a little bit surprised.
Yeah, can you walk through that transition from leaving the show to when it started airing and what you went through?
Absolutely. So, doing the show was a lot of fun. It was up and down. It was like really tough to get let go because I did like Alex. I thought that he was cute. I was hoping that it would go further, especially because I had just been getting out of a relationship where my boyfriend like wouldn't commit to me, and I thought, this could be a great thing for me. And so when it didn't happen, I was a little bummed out. Me and my friend on the show, Kathy, who unfortunately is no longer with us, but we took a shot of tequila. We cried a little bit, and we headed home. And once I got back home, there was a big adjustment. There was sort of just the letdown because I had all these high hopes, and then it was just a tough time. And then once the show started to air, it was like I had already been dealing with just sort of a rough time for a 23-year-old. And then I like couldn't leave my house because everywhere I went, it was people like wanting to talk to me, which was great, but it was unexpected. So I started to feel a little bit, it just changed my world turned upside down. And I also had people who were not my friends for the right reasons after the show started to air. It was just so much at one time. And then when they had the message boards, the ABC message boards, that's when I started to read some terrible things just about, who does this black girl think she is? He'll never pick her. And that was shocking because I grew up in LA. I honestly, honest to God, people don't believe me. I thought racism was like way back in the day. Like, now I know in the South and other parts of the country, it's very prevalent. But growing up, I had white friends. I really didn't think it was a thing. So then to all of a sudden also realize, like, wow, people are racist. And it was so much at one time that I just really didn't know how to handle it. And I had a so called friend offer me something that would help take the anxiety away, and that became an addiction because it made me stop thinking about my problems. And the next thing you know, my mom had to take me to the hospital because like I was just you know not well, not well. And when I was in the hospital, I just remember looking up and just taking a breath and just like asking myself, why are you here? What happened? Like, and I started to realize that like all those people that I had put their opinions above my own of myself, like no one was there with me in the hospital bed. It was just me alone. And that's when I just had a change of thought, and I started to get stronger. It was like when you realize you are all you've got, then you become a stronger person. So after that, I just started reading a lot of books, self-help books, learning how to be strong, learning what I was missing, which was self-love. I realized I never had self-love, unfortunately. So it was like a long, long process that I just never told anybody about.
And you were an actress before you went on the show, and you've continued to do that and to make films. But was there ever a doubt in you after having been on The Bachelor and your experience with that, that maybe you didn't want to do something in the spotlight? What was kind of that process like of transitioning out of The Bachelor back into being on camera again?
Oh, yeah. I actually, before The Bachelor, I had been doing some TV shows, music videos. I had actually booked a commercial and I had to choose between going on The Bachelor or shooting the commercial, and I picked The Bachelor. But after what I experienced from the show, when I went through the anxiety and the depression, I stepped away from acting for quite some time. I it just my priorities changed. I also knew that I needed to work on myself. I needed to find out my whys. Why do I want to be an actress? Am I doing this for someone else or am I doing it for me? So I had to do a lot of self reflection and a lot of growth. And then I finally got to the point where, you know what, I'm ready to go back into acting. Now I can handle any criticism because you have to be able to handle criticism. Like you get praised and you get criticized. So you have to be strong. So once I was strong enough, then I was ready to tackle it again. And I did, some a little TV, a couple of movies, some plays, and then just last week I just finished a feature film. So I'm happy to be back in it. And I also wrote a book called Your Special Light, which you may have seen. And I wrote that book about, finding self love, like helping a child find self love so that hopefully they don't have to go through what I experienced, which is waking up uh, in your adult life and realizing that, you don't love yourself. Therefore, you've allowed yourself to be um, manipulated, or you've allowed yourself to be taken advantage of. There's a lot of cons that come when you don't love yourself. So, I had to work out all of those things. And now I'm ready to just do the acting.
Yeah, I heard you say in an interview that you're an empath, which I relate to because I am as well. How do you grapple with being so empathetic and also being in the public eye where you're open to so much scrutiny?
Oh gosh, I feel like being an empath is tough in general. Now, thankfully, we know what it is. You know, growing up, I didn't know that that was a thing or what it was. So at least being aware of what I am helps me navigate it. I think I have to, you know, being an empath, we always want to make excuses for everybody. So even people who have done me wrong, I'm trying to make an excuse as to why I should forgive them. I mean, it can be difficult. But what I do is I try to protect my energy. I try to put people around me that are good people, and I think that that helps. And I just protect my energy.
Yeah, you've talked about, speaking of surrounding yourself with good people, when you were younger and you were on the show, you based a lot of your self value on what other people thought of you. How has your identity shifted from the time you were on the show, and what did that journey look like?
Yeah, well, one of the most eye-opening experiences from doing the show was when I was watching it and I saw myself say, the fact that Alex still has me here lets me know that I am worth something. And that hit me like a ton of bricks because it was like, wow, so you if he didn't still have you here, you would think you're not worth anything? And the answer is likely yes. It was like, I was just always basing how I felt about myself on whether someone liked me or not or what other people thought. And that landed me in the hospital, frankly. It was so much pressure always trying to make everyone else happy and never really getting that fulfillment back. So I had to learn how to give myself validation. And that again came through the journey of learning self love. I bought this book called The Art of Worldly Wisdom, which really changed my life. It helped me learn how to navigate life a little bit more thoughtfully so that, I wasn't always getting hurt. But yeah, I definitely am a stronger person now. Like I can go online and read something negative about myself and it not break me down, which it used to.
Yeah, speaking on books, I was going to ask you, were there any resources or practices that really helped you on your journey?
Yeah, that one book, The Art of Worldly Wisdom, I can't speak to that enough. It has 300 maxims about life. So it really helped give me a perspective on a lot of things. And then journaling really helped me exercise, just just like healthy outlets to get my thoughts out and to express myself. All of those things help me come out the other side a better person. Like even now, if I'm having a rough day, the first thing I know I need to do is journal because then I can figure out where the roadblock is and what I might do about it. It's like get the thoughts out of your head and onto a sheet of paper and then go for a walk, a hike. So those are coping mechanisms that have really helped me out.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things with finally deciding to invest in yourself and go on this journey to improve your self love, to improve your mental health, there's this initial hurdle of believing that you're worth making that investment, that you're worth asking for help. What would your advice be for someone who's struggling to take that first step?
I think it's important to know that we are all worth something, you know, and even if we don't always feel like it, maybe we don't have a boyfriend or we're having trouble keeping relationships or friendships. It can be hard to see value at times. But just know that, life has ups and downs. And even if you're down one day, if you work through it, you're going to be up eventually. You just have to find out what your passions are, what makes you happy, and just know that like how they say tough times don't last forever. So I think knowing that and believing that, and that is one of the reasons why I'm really happy that I was able to share my story, because when I was going through my difficult times, what helped me a lot was reading about other people who had gone through this and made it through the other side. So it was like, wow, okay, they're doing this now, and before they were down here. That means that there's a chance. So I think that that's why it's important for us to share our story, is just to help inspire people.
That was my conversation with LaNease. To find out more about her upcoming projects, you can head to her website, LaNeaseAdams.com, or give her a follow at LaNease Adams. Until next time, remember you're loved, you matter, and you've got this.